I don't even know. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Chapter 6. So first of all, thank you so much for everyone who's been really supportive. We've been doing really well with the voting in the Geek and Sundry contest. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, where have you been? By the way, how cool is this? I actually found this in a Bartell's, which if you're not familiar, because I think it's a Pacific Northwest chain, it's a drugstore. It's a totally normal, it's like a Walgreens or a Rite Aid, and this was just hanging out near the line as I was checking out to get some Lactaid, which for those of you who don't know is pills that are supposed to make it easier to digest lactose. It wasn't. I suffered many consequences. You may have missed it this past weekend, but we did a Google Hangouts with potential vloggers for the Geek and Sundry contest. It was really awesome to get to know people, and in the spirit of getting to know people, I figured I would answer a few of your questions directly. We're gonna do these segments from time to time, a little character development, if you will. Sometimes it'll be about me, sometimes it'll be about my guest if I have someone here, but I'm always gonna ask for some questions from Twitter, what you want to know from person A, or what have you. I'm my own guest today. Let's get started. Time Lord.
What got you into video games?
Gaming's actually always been a really big part of my family. My parents owned an Atari. It was a 1980 version. It had wood paneling on it, and that thing was actually with us till the late 1990s. Obviously, we got more consoles along the way, but that's really when it started. Since the day I was born, we always had a gaming console in the house. We had Atari, regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. We were big Nintendo houses. We didn't actually really have any Sega, to be honest. And then we got the PlayStation when that came out, and the Xbox, and it just... lots and lots of consoles! It was something we did, and it was something we kind of did as a family. And so, until I started, going to friends' houses and sleepovers, and really school in general, I actually was under the misconception everybody was a nerd. It was a happy little delusion.
Jetpack or hoverboard?
Jetpack. Always jetpack. Because hoverboards don't work on water unless you got power!
What's your favorite brand of hair dye?
Honestly, I rotate between Punky Color, Special Effects, and Manic Panic. Manic Panic, I like some of their colors, but they wash out really quickly in my experience. Special Effects, definitely my top shelf favorite. My annoyance with them, unfortunately, is they seem to only make their colors twice a year. So if they run out of, the basic colors, which I used to have Fire Engine red hair, it was a very base color for a lot of people. They ran out and they did not restock any of their suppliers for months. It was horrible.
You've mentioned struggling with weight. What's the hardest thing you've run into regarding that?
So if you aren't familiar with what this is actually referring to, on my blog, Wit and Whimsy, every Friday I do something called the Laura Project, which is inspired by Laura Croft and getting in shape and essentially working on being a physical badass as much as a mental badass. And in that I talk about just struggling with healthy habits, etc., etc., etc. I used to struggle with this a lot more, but what it really comes down to is kind of loving yourself a little and being able to be comfortable with yourself and catching all those horrible little self-deprecating comments that you throw out, because it does start to affect your mental health. And honestly, that's part of what the Lore Project also focuses on, is because until you are actually at somewhat peace with yourself, any sort of change will come out of complete self-loathing, and that will only end in unhealthy things. It's cliche, but it's been a really long journey, and I'm certainly nowhere close to the end of it, but part of this project is about giving my perspective, because I'm kind of out of the worst part of the woods, at least I hope. And maybe if you're still struggling or lost, this will help you out a bit. Take care of you so you can continue to be awesome.
What's your favorite shape?
Stars.
What's your worst fear?
It's funny because a year ago I might have said cars, because I have a huge phobia of cars. And I might have said being irrelevant. I'm gonna do this on camera, apparently. My biggest fear is knowing someone that I love is in trouble and I have absolutely no means of being able to help. That is honestly the worst thing in the world. I'm gonna cut here so I cannot be crying for the next question.
What makes you smile?
Everything. Music, puppies, rainbows, color, unexpected text messages, really good coffee.
Favorite doctor?
David Tennant! Wait.
of music do you listen to?
Maybe about 5 random ones that are in my playlist at all times, just so that you get a basic idea, because it's so kind of all over the place. I can't give you a straight answer. Lenka, the Dresden Dolls, Broadway musicals, Imagine Dragons, and All Time Low.
Would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
1 horse-sized duck. I would tame it and then ride it, and it would be my steed. I would call it Lucille. So thanks for all your questions. I hope it was entertaining, if not illuminating. We've all had a really busy week, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Remember to vote. Geek and Sundry is an amazing opportunity. I'm really excited at the opportunity to possibly be able to work for them and to work with all those amazing other vloggers. It's just, guys, it's awesome. Please, please vote, and have a great rest of your week. I was flying an airplane. I don't know.